one busy and lively community in Accra, there lived a woman named Abena. Though most people didn't call her by her name anymore, they called her the Queen. Not a queen of kindness, not a queen of respect, but a queen of something far more dangerous. Abena was impossible to ignore. She was tall, so tall people joke she could pluck mangoes without a stick. Her body was perfectly shaped, her skin smooth and glowing under the Ghanaian sun, and her confidence unmatched in the community. When she walked through the streets, conversations paused, men turned their heads, women tightened their grip on their husbands. And Abner loved it. She didn't just admire attention, she hunted it. At first, it began quietly. One man here, another there, a smile, a laugh, a touch on the arm. That was all it took. Within days, married men who once hurried home began to linger outside. Phone calls became secret. Gifts started appearing. The first real scandal came from the church. A calm, respectful man who worked closely with the pastor suddenly began acting strange. He started missing services, dressing differently, smiling at his phone like a teenager. Before long, people began whispering. It didn't take too long to find out why. Hey, Abena, the man's wife cried openly, but Abena only laughed when she heard about it. Next, she said casually, as if she had just finished a meal. And that was how it continued. By the time she reached her third victory, the entire community had accepted that she was. One of the men even owned a popular chop bar. Abner would visit often, and without asking, she was treated like royalty. Extra meat, free drinks, special attention. One evening, the man followed her home under the excuse of helping her carry food. By morning, he had forgotten where his real home was. His wife came shouting through the street, calling Abner every name she could think of. But Abner simply stood at a gate, smiling like it was entertainment. With each new man, her confidence grew stronger. By the seat man he got, a wealthy driver who owned a flashy car and loved attention, became her next target. All it took was one smile, just one, and the man lost all sense. Soon he was paying her bills, buying her expensive gifts, and calling her my queen without shame. Abner would sit with her friends and boast loudly. Men are too easy, she would say, flipping her hair. I don't even try anymore. The number kept rising 7, 8, and 9. By the time she reached 10, it was no longer just gossip, it was a legend. Her friends decide it deserves celebration. You are too much. They laughed. We need to throw a party for you. And so they did. The night of the party was loud and colorful. Music filled with the air. Light flashed and people gathered from all around just to witness the drama that always followed Abner. She arrived late, of course, dressed like royalty. Every eye turned towards her as she walked in, smiling like she owned the night. At the peak of the celebration, she stood up, raised her glass, and spoke proudly. In this Accra, she said, her voice bold, if you don't take what you want, someone else will do. And me, I always take what I want. The crowd cheered. Some laughed, others watched in silence. But in the corner of that same party, a man stood quietly. He didn't cheer, he didn't smile, he just watched her. A few days later, that same man moved into the neighborhood. He was different, calm, well dressed, and mysterious. He didn't chase women, didn't talk much. He seemed completely unaffected by the noise around him. Of course, that made him the perfect target for Abner. So Abner noticed him immediately. This one, she told herself, smiling. It will be interesting. She approached him the same way she always did. Soft greetings, gentle laughter, casual visit. But for the first time in a long while, things didn't go as expected. The man didn't fall. He listened. He observed. He stayed just out of reach. That only made Abner more determined. Weeks passed before he finally gave in, or so it seemed. He invited her to a private party, exclusive special. Abner was expected and excited for this moment. This, she thought, it would be her greatest victory in her life in the community. She dressed better than ever that night, looking like a true queen ready to claim her prize. When she arrived, the party was already in motion, music, light, and laughter. But something felt off. Before she could fully understand it, the music suddenly stopped. The lights came on, and then, one by one, women began to step forward, each holding something: a photo, a memory, a pain. Abner's smile slowly faded. One woman spoke. Do you remember me? Another stepped forward. Or me? Another. Or what did you do to my family? Her heart began to pound. Then the man walked towards her, calm and steady. I am not your next victory, he said quietly. I am the brother of one, the cousin of another, and the friend of many lives you destroyed. The room was silent. The same cloud that once cheered her now watched without a word. For the first time in her life, Abner had nothing to say. No jokes, no pride, no confidence, just silence. She turned slowly and walked out of the room, her heels echoing louder than the music ever did. Weeks passed, and the community noticed a change. Abner no longer walked with the same pride. No more loud laughter, no more bold claims. One afternoon, a young girl approached her curiously. She said, Sister Abner, she asked, is it true you used to take people's husband? Abner looked at her for a moment, then gave a quiet smile. What you take with pride, she said softly, can be taken from you with pain. And from that day on, the queen of snatching became just Abner, a woman who finally understood that every game has an ending, and every hunter one day becomes the hunted. This story continues. Wait for the next episode. Thank you.
What a beautiful evening in the market!